Hello everyone, this is Mekkah, and I was in a good mood, but then this chapter showed up. It's chapter 18 of my Fire Emblem 8 100% growth slow turn count playthrough. And first off, we're promoting Molder, because having 6 move and the ability to attack your bishop is much better than having 5 move and none of the ability to attack. You know, it's been a while since we got Molder at like level 3 in chapter 2. And it's pretty amazing that it only takes him this long to reach level 10, but he finally did it. Had to use like a bunch of extra warps too, but now he's finally here. And he's mostly going to be in charge of using the rescue staff that we got this chapter to get some units ahead of schedule. And we also have a Master Seal, so I guess we're using that to promote... I thought we were going to promote Tana, but I guess we're promoting Null instead, huh? Yeah, the upcoming chapter is pretty movement heavy, and if there's one thing Null can do, it's enable high move summons. Summoner has a skill called Summon, which lets you create a new unit right in front of Null, and that unit can actually move 6 tiles on their own. They're very frail, they only have 1 HP, so they die to everything, but they can attack and they can fly. 2 traits that are very helpful in the upcoming chapter. And they also work very nicely as enemy bait. So that's what we're gonna do. Because this chapter, I'd say it's well designed, but I hate playing it so much. Because the enemies in it are nasty, nasty, nasty. The eggs are no problem, you know, they don't attack. So you just kill them in one hit with just about anyone. But every turn the eggs slowly gain a little bit of health, and when they're full they turn into Gorgons, of which there are also already a couple on the map. And Gorgons have all kinds of nasty tricks up the sleeve. They have Shadow Shot, which is a 3 to 10 range spell that hits like a truck. They can also have Demon Surge, which has 1 to 2 range and just does a lot of damage. And they can also have Stone, which is a 1 to 3 range status spell. So it works like any attack, but it actually turns you to stone, which is worse than being put to sleep. You can't attack, you can't move, and every enemy has 100 hit on you and 30% crit. It's really nasty. So yeah, this chapter, there's a lot of player phase attacking, a lot of it. The fun part of it is that every egg gives 50 XP, but I don't really care about that. What I care about is killing all of them within 4 turns. On my old run I got 5 turns, maybe even 6, and of course Horus was like, dude, you can do this in 4. But I hate planning this so much, it's such a pain in the butt. In fact, when I first did it, I couldn't complete it, because it was so hard. So I went back to chapter 16 and I got the Purge Tome, and that made it possible, I would say. Maybe it's possible without. I challenge anyone who wants to give it a try to get the save file. If I remember, I'll post it in the description. Try if you can do it with less rescue, warp, and purge uses, because I sure couldn't. This chapter is a pain. There's so many eggs and enemies that you gotta kill on player phase. Because the Gorgons, you can't really counter them, since they all have weird ranged weapons. You can't counter the eggs. You can really only counter the normal monsters that show up. So yeah, it's pretty tricky to plan all the movements for this chapters. Plan all the movements for this chapter. Null really helps though, because every turn he summons like a new unit that can move 6 tiles on their own after Null already moved 6 tiles. So it's kind of as if he has 12 move. Not quite, but you know what I mean. But really everyone's got to chip in. I actually break the rescue staff in this chapter just from using it so much to get units further ahead and close to the goal. Purge is really helpful because it gives Archer and Saleh 3 to 10 range. I would say Saleh is like one of the MVPs of this chapter. You guys will also probably be happy to see Ross deployed again and actually playing a role that matters. Ephraim plays a really good role here. He's the ideal candidate to be warped in the lower right, because that unit doesn't have to move very far, they just have to be able to use 1-2 range to kill the ranged enemies, but also have enough attack to kill the spider reinforcements that show up. I think they're called bales or something, I don't know how to pronounce it, the spiders. You know what I mean. But as long as they're warped in there on this turn, then they'll be fine for the 4th turn. It's really the upper sections that I have to worry about, the upper right and the upper left. The upper right has the boss, and the upper left has this annoying Shadow Shot Gorgon that I had to bait with one of my summons, and now Saleh is gonna rig a Purge crit against him to get rid of him, because he's really annoying. And I think he can also want to kill Tethys, so gotta get him out of the way. And by baiting him this low, I save Ross and Seth a turn of having to take care of him, because the units that get up there, Seth, Vanessa, and Ross, they are so busy. They gotta take out something that doesn't suicide every single turn, or I won't make it. So yeah, the rescue staff breaks already, and this would make me feel very sad, but I don't really need it for anything else. It's just not that helpful in this chapter. but it was very nice to have for now. I'm sure I'm making a couple people cringe just by having a phantom kill an egg, but I really have no use for it, for you know, getting experience. I just want to save turns, man. I just want to save turns. Most of the enemies are like, the ones that are not gorgons or eggs are really inconsequential. I just let them kill themselves basically, and I can even take multiple turns in doing so, which is I wasn't stressed out at all about Ross missing the gargoyle. I think he has an Axe Reaver, which is why his accuracy isn't the best. But yeah, the boss is a threat, dude. He has a stone spell, of course, but he can also just demon surge if he wants to. And he's just generally a pain. You gotta take him out on player phase, but you really just want to focus on the eggs. None of them actually hatch. There is a possibility of making one of them hatch on turn 1. The one that's closest to you at the starting point. There were strats doing that, because I don't believe the Gorgons like to move on the turn they hatch, so they just attack at 1-2 range up close if they can. Like you can just put someone next to them and just kill that way. It's pretty funny. But that didn't end up making it into final strat. You can see Ephraim is making really good use of his promotion by spamming javelins. But yeah, this boss is so bulky that Seth, with his new Vidofnir tool, the S-rank lance that we got in the last chapter, I think this is like the only S-rank weapon I ever use, funnily enough. Even with that, he doesn't want it killed, so he has to dodge another stone, but the hit rate isn't that high. You can see there's like 4 eggs in the upper right corner. Those are really hard to reach. You gotta take like Warp or Purge to get to them. I don't know, as complicated as planning this chapter is, it's really hard to explain exactly what went through my mind, but basically it was just going turn by turn, trying to find ways to get the most attacks in possible. But most of the time it was like more like trial and error than actually planning shit, so that's why I didn't really enjoy it. There's only so much you can map out. I used my second to last warp use here, and then I repair it on the same turn. I actually don't think I needed to repair it right away, because I don't believe I use another warp in this chapter. So maybe that turn could have been spent better in hindsight, but it ended up working out just fine. But yeah, Purge is so good. I think if I didn't have Saleh, I would not have been able, like I wouldn't have been come close to a 4-turn. So I think Horus said he didn't even have Purge for this chapter, so I really wonder how he did it. So I definitely will post a save in the description. You guys can see if you can record a more clean looking clear, because I end up using a lot of warps, my whole rescue staff, and 4 purges, I believe, to get the clear. I even looked up speedruns of this chapter to see how to low turn it, but those all use the enemy control glitch now, because, you know, why wouldn't you? Yeah, it's an annoying combination of like a bunch of eggs in the upper right corner and then also the ones close to the upper right corner, like where Franz is roughly. But the spot where Francis is really nice for him, which is why I spent a warp getting him there, even though it took like, it only saved him like a couple of squares. Because he can kill an egg from where he is, but then he can also kill one of the upper right eggs. So complicated to explain. Basically, you want to be able to counter the enemies at all times, the ones that, you know, can suicide. But you also want to make sure you're killing an egg at every single opportunity. Because there's only barely enough turns. You can see that it works out just fine on turn 4. This Gorgon getting hit by a fire towel is pretty funny, because that allows Molder to kill him with a regular Shine Tome. It's the only instance ever of Molder attacking, I believe. Pretty funny. Molder cannot use Purge, by the way, because Bishops, I believe, have a C in Light Magic when they promote. And of course, Molder would never train in Light Magic like Archer did, he just trained his stabs. And Purge is a B-rank tome, so it's only Saleh and Archer that can use it. Kyle was surprisingly helpful in this chapter just for being an 8-move unit. I think he was only boosted by Rescue once, so you can imagine how someone like Garrick wouldn't be able to contribute in this chapter. At one point I had Cyrene deployed to help me out here. She also has 8-move, but she sucks at like literally everything but killing eggs. So Ross ended up being better. Yeah, Vanessa's 10 move was really useful in this chapter. She only needed a rescue use to get to where she was. You really need so many units to get to the upper part as soon as possible. Like, if you look at this last turn, you can see that there's definitely possibilities for improvement with my efficiency, because some units barely move at all. Like the way Tethys is used and stuff. I think there's definitely room for improvement. I didn't care because This is the home stretch. This is when I was mentally done with the game and done LTCing. There were no hard maps left, but then this came up and I was like, wow, this is actually harder than I thought. Because every other map after chapter 15 is pretty easy overall. This last part is pretty funny. Weird dance, yeah. I wouldn't say weird dance, it's more like I barely got any movement. This chapter is weird. I'm glad they had like a chapter with like an incentive, an anti-turtle incentive, but I do not like it. Anyway, that's this map in 4 turns. Die Gorgons die. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.